Man, isn't that like intense? Is dope still cool? Because I was sitting there, I'm like, dang. Like, when you feel that junk in your chest and you're like, man, that makes me a little sick. Like, that's when you know it's a good beat, right? Anybody? Cool. Well, we are so glad that you're here tonight. My name is Tim, and I'm the student pastor here. And here's what I need everyone to do real quick. I want you to turn to your neighbor and say, I'm so glad you're here. I want you to turn to another person and say, man, you nice. Or maybe one man, you nice? I don't know. See, like the whole purpose of the series, Finding Friends, so like I just helped you break the ice right there. Like you're finding friends literally right now. It's awesome. Well, I need all of you guys to do me a favor. If you got your program when you came in tonight, I want you to, this is old school, hold it in the air and wave it like you just don't care. Yeah, you're like, wow. Okay. Yeah, inside your program, there's lots of stuff there tonight. I want to kind of tell you a few things about what's there. The first thing is your connection card. Do us a favor, fill that out with as much info as you feel comfortable. We're not going to show up at your house or anything weird like that. We just want to, it gives you a chance to put your card in the bucket at the end of the night to win a prize. So that's a win. But inside there as well is a card that says you asked for it. All right? We're doing a series in September where you guys get to pick the sermon material. Any question you have is really regarding like the Bible or God or any of those things. Yeah, exact, boom. David, hey, can we give a round of applause to our tech team? Seriously, come on, clap it up, come on. Every week, here's the thing. This just shows how good they are. You notice when things don't go right? Like when something fails, you're like, whoa, like that's me. Like earlier, some of you guys witnessed something which is a special moment for only those who saw. I failed miserably, okay? It was awful. But that's the thing, you see when that happens. But these guys every week do an awesome job of making sure that everything runs smoothly. So we got huge props for them, and my man David is always on point. So we really appreciate them. So just real quick. They're awesome. Seriously, I mean that. So, but you guys, I want you to ask any questions. And here's the thing, make them anonymous. If you're like, I don't know if I want anyone to know I asked that. That's okay. Just write your question, turn that in the bucket at the very end of service today. All right, but we're going to go ahead and jump into Finding Friends, week 4. I have a question for you. What is the kindest thing one of your friends has ever done for you? That's a real friend right there. They bring you food. Did they eat it before they brought it to you? Okay, so that's a good friend. So I was going to say, if they didn't eat it, that's like, you better keep that friend for life. I'm saying, all right, somebody else, what's something kind a friend has done for you? I'm just curious. I'm putting you on the spot. Yeah. Remembered your birthday. It's even better when they remember your name, right? You're like, you're Tom, right? Oh, no, it's Tim. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's important, remembering important things. So what else? Anything else? Nicknames, that's right. Those are good. So we're going to come back to that in a minute, but for the last few weeks, we've been talking about how friendships are really important, right? Because we all want to have good friends, right? I think we could all agree on that. And so as you know, as you can probably tell, we talked about this. Finding Friends is based off of Finding Nemo. Two fish, we've been watching Marlin and Dory. Who's ever seen Finding Nemo? I'm just kind of curious. Okay. Yes. Yes. So in case you're like, okay, maybe it's been a while, I really don't remember much about the movie, let me kind of give you a recap. Marlin and Dory have been searching for days for Marlin's missing son, Nemo. He was kind of taken away. He swam out of the reef. Don't go out of the reef, right? Yeah. He does. And so what we see during their search, that both of them, but especially Marlin, learn some valuable life lessons about friendship. And over time, we see Marlin become not just a better friend and a better dad and a better fish, but it's all because of Dory's influence. But today we're going to watch a very different scene play out. This time it's not Dory who teaches Marlin, but his son teaches him a very important lesson about friendship. So let's take a look.
Nemo?
Nemo alive!
Dory? Nemo! Nemo! I'm coming, Nemo! Nemo! Oh, thank goodness. It's all right, son. It's gonna be okay.
Turn around! You're going the wrong way!
Look out!
Dory!
Come on! Help! Dory! Get us out!
No! Dory!
Dad, I know what to do!
Nemo! No!
We have to tell all the fish to swim down together!
Get out of there
I know
now!
this will work!
No, I am not gonna lose you again!
Dad, there's no time! It's the only way we can save Dory! I can do this!
You're right. I know you can.
Lucky Finn!
Now go! Hurry!
Tell all the fish to swim down!
Well, you heard my son?
All right, so I can't like show the rest of the movie, even though I'm sure all of us would love that. But what we see here, now here's the thing. Unlike Nemo, okay, I've not had any friends go so far as to risk their lives to do something kind for me. But I do know what it's like to have a friend make a big sacrifice for me. It's funny, you'll experience this one day when you get to college, but I didn't know what to expect when I went, and I lived in East Point for a year, and that was a scary time of my life. No, I'm just kidding. It was a great time. I lived in the football dorm, and you're like, okay. Yeah, it was interesting. Life got real. But my roommate for all 4 years of my college experience, Seth, he and I are the best of buds, okay? He was the best man in my wedding, and in a couple of months, I'm going to get to be the best man in his wedding. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, this is when you know, like, you've arrived at friendship, when your friend tells you he's going to propose before he proposes. Like, I didn't tell that many people. He was like, bro, it's going down Sunday. I'm like, my boy, what's up? Okay, it's awesome. It's cool. But Seth and I, okay, we had all kinds of shenanigans and adventures while we were in college. For those of you who knew me back before I met Morgan, I was a little girl crazy for a while. You don't have to say yes. That's okay. All right, well, see, that's friendship, honesty, right? Just keeping it real. But no, Seth was, it started out as an awkward friendship, but what happened was something amazing. Just over time, we grew closer. We had a lot of same interests. But Seth helped me through a lot of things. When I thought I was going to fail a test, Seth was there like, bro, I think you can at least pass. I'm like, man, that's encouragement right there. Or like, hey, man, so I'm going to go talk to this girl. What do you think? And he's like, bro, nah, just don't even. I'm like, you're right. You're so right. She's way out of my league. All right? Or just anything. And as I started dating Morgan, he gave me lots of advice. But I'll never forget that there was a time, one of the hardest times of my life, and I had so many unanswered questions. I was asking God. I needed help. And you know what? This seems small, but if you've had this happen, you know how much it means. When you're having a bad day, and just like Rebecca said, when your friend brings you food. And I'm not just talking about like food, comfort food, right? Anybody like, you know your comfort food? Like, don't be ashamed. That's okay. We all got it. Mine is Taco Bay. All right, like I had that for lunch today. It's been too long, and I was like, my sweet friend, come here. It's so good. It's so good. That taco was gone in like 3 seconds. I was just like, inhaled it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's so good. It's so good. But Seth, so we had this thing in college. I was actually telling them at lunch, anybody ever had the caramel apple empanada from Taco Bell? Okay, that thing is lava. Like the outside's warm, and you bite it, and you're like, oh, like your tongue is melting off, okay? But here's a pro tip. A caramel apple empanada with white grape peach juice. Mind shattering. You're like, what? Write it down. You don't believe me? That's okay. Try it out. It's like $1, like for the empanada, and like a couple bucks for juice. All right? Because everyone likes like white grape peach juice. Yeah. So do it. I'm being serious. Write it down. Write it down. Try it. It's amazing. But it was more than just the food. In that moment, I needed a friend, and he sacrificed a lot of things going on at the time. He was playing music and had some opportunities, and he canceled it to come and just kind of be my friend. And that meant more to me than really anything up to that point that I had known about friendship. And so what I learned in that moment, and this is point number 1 on your outline, you can fill this in, is that actions speak louder than words. You've probably heard that phrase before. Maybe in some different variation, like, don't talk the walk, you got to walk the... Right, exactly, right. I mean, like, you got to do what you say you're going to do. It's important. But see, here's the thing. In friendship, like in most things, actions really do speak louder than words. It's real easy to tell your friend, hey, I've got your back. But when things go down and they're nowhere to be found, it's like, whoa, I guess who's a friend for real now, right? If you want to know if your friend is real, don't look at their words. Look at what they do. How they treat other people. How they treated you in the past month. Have they been there for you, or have they left you high and dry? Because talk is cheap and easy. It's a person's actions, especially in a moment of crisis, that say so much more than words ever could. So we're going to take a look. We've seen throughout this series that there's some real wisdom in Proverbs. King Solomon, the guy who wrote this, maybe you've heard of David and Goliath, that story where the little man takes down a giant with a slingshot. Okay, his son has been credited to be one of the wisest men to ever live, and this is what he said in Proverbs 18:24. Friends come and go, or friends come and friends go, but a true friend sticks by you like family. I want you to underline that word family. Now, I don't know all of your family situations, but here's what I know for the most part. You probably have one person that you know, hopefully more, that when things get real, you know you can go to that person, right? Like, you can talk to them about whatever you need. You know that they're going to have your back. Even if you're wrong, they're like, hey, you're wrong, but you know what? I still love you and I have your back, right? Like, that's family. But can you think of a friend in your life who has proven with both words and actions that they're going to stick by you even closer than like a brother or a sister? I hope you have. I know that I've had some trying experiences with friends. Maybe you can't relate to that yet. Maybe you haven't experienced a problem big enough where you've had to actually test that friendship, and you will someday. Or maybe you've had and you've learned that the best friends will occasionally let us down. Even my friend Seth, I love that dude, and I've got his back. Like, if he were to get in a fight, I mean, like, I ain't scrappy or nothing, but I'm going to get one punch in. I might cry, but man, I got some good leg strength. I can kick him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and run. Like, boy, we got to go. But even though he's made a big sacrifice for me, he hasn't always been a perfect friend because he just isn't perfect. But here's what we see in 1 John 3:18. It's just kind of re-emphasizing. It says, dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. Let us show the truth by our actions. See, and it's hard for us to live by that, right? I can't tell you how many times as a kid I told my parents, and this was just a straight up lie, all right? They're like, did you feed the dog? I'm like, yeah. That poor dog. She probably didn't eat for like a week. Because I had to go down in the creepy basement, and there were spiders, and I was like, nah, puppy can like eat grass or something. Should be all right. Okay? I'm just being like, that is awful. I don't do that now. I have cats, and they're crazy. But my point is this. It's real easy to say and try to get out of doing the important things, but how you living by your actions, not your words, is so important. I've had great friends and I've had some not so great friends. But you know what? Throughout my whole life, my 24 years, because I feel super old, I've always had one friend who's never left me. I've always had one person that no matter what, they have had my back. Even when I've been a terrible friend in return, they have always been there for me, and they're like, hey, it's going to be okay. They never give up and have proven that their actions for me are greater than even their words. I have one friend who I know will never leave me, and so do you, and that's point number 2. Jesus wants to be our friend. It's Jesus. I don't know how that sounds, okay? Just being real, maybe it sounds cheesy. Here's some homework for you. I don't know if you like just watching random YouTube videos, but there's a video. Thank you. I could spend hours, days watching YouTube. It's so good. You should look up this video later called Jesus is My Friend. Wow. I think we need to do that as a worship song up here, okay? It is 2 minutes and 48 seconds of pure torture, but it's awesome. All right, so you just got to do it. You got to do it. It's super cheese. But here's the thing. Maybe this whole Jesus is my friend sounds a little crazy. Maybe it even sounds disrespectful for me to say that the God of the universe who came and died for us is my personal friend. But over and over again, the Bible shows us that Jesus wants us to see him as our friend. He went to great lengths to show us, even more than that though, he just doesn't want to just be our friend. He wants to be our BFF, our best friend, like for reals. See, we see this in John chapter 15. You can follow along on your outline if you want to get out your phones and follow in the Bible app, just on Instagram or Snapchat, or you can follow along on the screen here. It says, I have loved you the way my Father has loved me. Make yourselves a home in my love. If you keep my commands, if you do the things that I tell you are important, you'll remain intimately. Here's the word. I want you to underline that word. Is it on your outline? Intimately? No. Okay, I couldn't remember. Write it out there beside it. Intimately. It's more than just like, hey, I just kind of know you like as an acquaintance. It's I know you personally, better than you know yourself. And you'll remain intimately at home in my love. That's what I've done. Kept my Father's commands and made myself at home in his love. I've told you these things for a purpose, that my joy might be your joy and your joy wholly mature. This is my command. This is important. Love one another the way that I've loved you. This is the very best way to love. Put your life, now this is important, this should be on your outline. Underline this next part. Put your life on the line for your friends. You are my friends when you do the things that I command you. We continue. I'm no longer calling you servants because servants don't understand what their master is thinking and planning. No, I've named you friends because I've let you in on everything I've heard from the Father. You didn't choose me, remember, I chose you and put you in the world to bear fruit that won't spoil. As fruit bearers, whatever you ask the Father in relation to me, he gives you. And this is so key. But remember the root command, love one another. If you know anything about the story of Jesus, we see it here painted perfectly. And maybe you don't know, maybe you've never heard about this whole thing, or maybe you're a little foggy on the details. Jesus came, he was a man, he was God in human form. He lived on the earth for 30-ish years, and he did ministry for really just a short time in his whole life as far as what he was called to do. And he ended up doing all kinds of miracles and dying at the end on a cross for our sins. For all the junk that we've done, we've messed up. And he didn't just stay dead, he rose again to prove that he is God. But Jesus makes 4 incredibly important statements in this this passage that we read. I want you to catch on. You might want to write this down. Okay, there's not a spot on it for your outline, but I want you to catch this. This is very important. 4 things. Number 1, he tells his disciples that he loves them. So basically, he just loves them. Like, hey, I care about you more than you care about yourself. It's important. Number 2, love others like I've loved you. So love people. I love you, love other people. The greatest friendship, the greatest love is to die for someone else, give up your life. And the last, he says that true friends follow him and lived how he lived. Yeah, Jesus was speaking to his friends and disciples here, but he is also speaking to us today. This point number 3 might seem a little redundant, okay? But bear with me. Point number 3, Jesus is the best friend you'll ever have. See, this is more than just Jesus saying, I want you to be like my friend. Like, I just want to know you, like I want to spend time with you, whatever. No, Jesus is saying, I want to be your best friend. The person that you go to for everything. When you have a moment of crisis, when you finally got 70 likes on that picture on Instagram, man, that was awesome. That was cool. Like when you make that good joke, You're like, man, Jesus, you hear that? And he's like, yeah, I got you. Right? Because we all need that sometimes, right? Like, I tell bad jokes, but I'm always like, wasn't that funny? And I'm like, he's like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, no, it's okay. But it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm being silly, but the point is this. Jesus wants to be our best friend. Everything that you know about friendship, Jesus wants to be that and more. And he's proven his love by his sacrifice for us. No one can ever compare to Jesus and his love, sacrifice, and friendship. And that is why Jesus is the best friend you'll ever have. Because here's what's important. You don't have to raise your hand on this. But you've probably seen some drama, right? Too much drama for me mama. You know what I'm saying? Like you just want to like punch somebody in the face. You're like, this just needs to end, right? It gets too crazy. Fighting over things that just don't matter. See, Jesus doesn't create conflict. He brings peace. He wants everything to be cool. Every word he speaks is kind, even when he confronts us with hard truth. You ever had a friend say something like, hey, don't take this personally, but... I'm like, go ahead. What you gonna say? I got something for you too, buddy. Your shoes is ugly. Right? He's like, go ahead, bring it. I got you. Right? Because it's rough. Because even though they're like, oh, I'm just kidding. That ain't a joke. You being serious. Just be real. But Jesus is always kind. He's not mean. He teaches us to forgive, not explode in anger. I don't know about you. If you don't drive yet, one day you will experience road rage. Because people they get behind the wheel of a car and they lose their minds. And I'm like, anyway, I just got to leave it at that because I'm going to get myself in trouble talking about it. Jesus never lies. He only speaks truth. He's always got our best interest in mind. He is always there. He never leaves us. He always listens, and he always forgives. I don't know about you, but I've never had a friend who did all those things all the time. But here's the most important. Jesus' friendship is eternal, unbreakable, and unchangeable. See, friendships change, right? Like you could be friends with someone one day and then find out they stabbed you in the back the next. And you're like, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong, bro. Come on, let's go, right? Jesus, here's the thing. There's no difference. It's always the same. I'm going to be the same guy today as I was yesterday, and I'm going to be the same guy tomorrow as I am right now. That's pretty valuable, right? Because none of us can say that. I can't even tell you that about myself. I just can't. So here's what I want you to do. Over these past 4 weeks, we've had these little papers of like an outline of a person. What I want you to do right now, but what we've been doing, in case this is your first time, you're like, I don't really know what we're talking about. I've had people draw features on these people. So like if characteristics that are important in a friend. So if you think that a friend is a good listener, draw big ears. If you think that they should be able to keep secrets, then you draw a hand over their mouth or something. But here's what I want you to do this time. I want you to draw on this paper at least one thing that you think, based off of what we've talked about, and maybe you've experienced, that Jesus has been as a friend to you. What's one thing? What's one big thing? Maybe you draw lots of stuff. That's cool too. But just even if enough, it's just one thing. Let's take a minute and do that.
What are you going to say? Just listen. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pains, we all have sorrows, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long. So I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
If you know it, sing along. God on your brother when you need a hand.
We all need somebody to lean on. It's not a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. That you can carry
All right, just a few more seconds. Right up the road, I'll say hello if you just call me. All right. Man, I don't know about you. I love me some Glee. It is good for the soul. Man, when Mercedes sings in that show, it's like, oh, it's good. But here's the thing. See, you know, I can sit up here and it may sound like cheesy or whatever, and I'm curious. I actually want you to take your drawings to you with your group tonight, and maybe you don't have to talk about them. That's okay. But I want you to carry that with you, because here's the thing. Jesus just wants us to lean on him. He's just been there the whole time, and he's always there, and he's just like, you know what? It's okay. You've had a bad day. It's cool. Lean on me. Hey, you're having a great day. Come lean on me. It's all good. But here's what's so important about a friendship. It goes two ways, right? To have a friendship, there has to be communication between two people. And through his sacrifice, Jesus has already proven his love for us. So how do we return his friendship? Here's a couple ways. We are friends of Jesus when we love God like nobody else. We're friends to him when we love others like Jesus loved us. And we love Jesus when we try to be like him. And a friendship with Jesus is different, of course, than a friendship with another person, okay? But the same mechanics apply. If you want to return Jesus' offer of friendship, this is important. You got to, spend time with them. What? It's like, you blew my mind. What? No. Duh. If you want to hang out with your friends, you spend time with them, right? Yeah, it's pretty simple. You got to talk to him like a best friend. Hey, when I talk to God sometimes, I just keep it real. I'm like, man, today has been rough. I'm like, can you do something about that? Can I get a little lightning bolt? Psh, you know what I'm saying? I need some help. All right? I just keep it real. You can trust him with your secrets, your problems, your joys, just like you would tell your best friend. And just like any friend, the more time you spend with Jesus, the more influence he's going to have on your life. But unlike other friends, Jesus will never leave you. He's always got your back. It's just like, I got to reference the shirt. I got Lilo and Stitch on here. Ohana means family, and it means no one is left behind or forgotten. Jesus is saying, I am always going to be here for you. You know what? You can mess up. That's okay. Just come back. Hey, you did some big mistake you think you can't recover from? That's okay. Just give your life back to me. Let's just talk. Here's the thing. Can I be real? Can I be 110% real with you guys for a second? Is that cool? I have messed this thing up so many times. There are times when I have jacked up and I'm like, I can't come back from that. I can't. But here's the problem. See, I don't know about you, maybe this is just me. But sometimes we see this relationship with God as doing the right things and not doing the wrong things. And God is saying through Jesus, you've got it all wrong. Forget that for a minute and just love me. Love me like you love your friends and your family. Just talk to me, just be with me. We'll figure all that other stuff out. Just come back. Just be with me. And we'll solve this together. So here's what I'm telling you tonight. You don't have to have it all figured out. In a minute, we've got 2 next steps for you tonight. And if you're new, what we do at this time is, this is kind of our challenge. Either one of these next steps applies to literally every person in this room. Okay? The first one is this. I want Jesus to be my friend for the very first time. If you're like, look, Tim, I don't understand all this God stuff. I'm like, this is a little confusing. Here's what I want you to know. That's okay. In just a minute when I pray, I'm going to give you an invitation to let him be your friend for the first time. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just got to trust him a little bit more every day. Is that doable? All right? You ain't got to figure it all out. It's just a little more every day. Here's the second thing. If you're like, Tim, I already believe in God and I know what Jesus has done for me, here's this. I will offer Jesus' friendship to at least one person this week. All right? Maybe you need to spend some more time with Jesus, all right? I heard someone say this yesterday, and I thought it was so good. I have never seen someone fall away from the relationship with Christ if they had a genuine relationship with Him. If you're spending time with God, He'll help you do all the stuff you don't know. But if you don't know Him, He can't help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to actually trust Him for this thing to work. Friendship's two ways. But here's what's so important. Some of you, you know lots of people at your schools. Maybe some of you don't know that many people at your school. There are people who are literally dying to know about Jesus. They just want someone to be their friend. They need you. And you know who I'm talking about? There are people at your lunch, at your school, that sit by themselves, right? And we can pretend all day that they're not there, but they are. There are people in your class that have no friends. Could you take 5 minutes to talk to them and just make them feel good? Like, hey man, you got some cool shoes. That's easy, right? My hope for every one of you, take it from someone who has learned through so many times of doing it wrong, that Jesus just wants to be your friend. Don't overcomplicate it. It's simple. Lean on Him. Let's pray. God, we overcomplicate this thing all the time. You're simply just saying, come to me. That's it. Live like me, love God, love other people. Tonight, if you want to have a friendship with Jesus for the first time, you don't have to say it out loud. You can just repeat, just kind of pray this along with me. Dear God, I know I've messed up, but I believe that you died and rose again so that I could have life, this friendship. Help me to trust you more every day. In Jesus' name. And for the rest of us tonight, God, I ask that you would deepen this relationship, that you would help us in everything to trust and believe that you're our friend. You're our best friend no matter what. In Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen.